And remember, these are all true stories. Some are greater and some are smaller. Another one, female competitor. She got into the sport, wanted to compete in bikini. Every girl starts out by wanting to compete in bikini. Her boyfriend at the time told her this is a good cycle for a bikini competitor. 250 milligrams of sust a week. Now, another example, I coached a girl. It went viral. She was very competitive. She was on 50 milligrams of Anavar for approximately 6 months, and then she met me, and I said, "You're on 50 milligrams of Anavar?" And she showed me her before and her after. And I was thinking, so you got in the gym and you wanted to be a bikini competitor and you wanted to put on muscle. I can understand that. And in 6 months, you went from being able to compete in bikini to now you're in women's physique and or bodybuilding in 6 months. So I said, you need to stop. You can't take these crazy doses. She competed at the national level, had all kinds of muscles. She was very, very strong, lots of potential. Also horrendous acne that was bleeding all over the place. It was gross. So following the competition where she didn't win, she thought, next year I'm going to win. She said, "Greg, what do I need to do?" I said, well, right now you need to come off. Time to stop. You need to give your receptors a break. You need to come back down to normal. Your voice is changing. You're growing a mustache. Everything is bad. Do you think she listened to me? She then spoke to every single coach until someone told her, "I think you should up the doses and blast until next year. Then you can win your pro card." And so the next time I saw her at Good Life at Park Lane Mall in Halifax, she had an even thicker mustache and an even deeper voice. Eventually, she passed out at the gym and was taken away by ambulance, and she was taking 50 milligrams of D-bol a day, injecting all kinds of steroids, equipoise, and so on. And she had to go on dialysis from taking steroids. And so sometimes people just won't listen. They don't care. Eye on the prize, whatever it takes. And remember, these are all true stories. Some are greater and some are smaller. Another one, female competitor. She got into the sport, wanted to compete in bikini. Every girl starts out by wanting to compete in bikini. Her boyfriend at the time told her this is a good cycle for a bikini competitor. 250 milligrams of sust a week. And so she did one shot of 250 milligrams. And so when she's telling me these things, I'm thinking, who the heck told you as a bikini competitor to take 250 milligrams of Sustain on a week? My boyfriend. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I shot myself in the foot there because I'm going to have to talk to this boyfriend. And so this is what's going on. Another time I hooked up with the girl and she's like, "Hey, I got to do my steroid shot." And I'm thinking, well, I don't take steroids. She's thinking I'm not natty because obviously I have a lot of muscle, but I'm natural. And she's like, "Do you want to see me do my shot?" And I'm thinking, all right. She uses a 22 gauge needle and she injects 0.3 mils of Tren Ace. Now, this is prior to me knowing about steroids. And I was thinking, what is this orange dark colored substance? And 0.3, I was thinking that needle looks awfully thick. So then later on, I found out that was Tren for a woman who wants to compete in bikini. Her voice wasn't all that deep, but she told me, "Greg, before I took this, my voice was so high-pitched, everyone thought I was 12 years old." And so she had, I would call a normal-ish voice, but she had just begun taking Tren. And so what do you think was going to happen? Another story. Another woman, I can't remember her name, but it was one of those names that could be a man or woman, like Shauna or Sean, whatever it was. And so she says, "I'm competing in physique." And so I read the name Sean, whatever, physique. And I'm going through the cycle and I'm thinking, okay, that's a reasonable cycle. You know, the person has competed once and it was like 250 milligrams of this, 250 milligrams of that. And I'm thinking, okay, that's not so bad. Come to find out it was a woman. I nearly lost my mind. I was thinking this is a moderately dosed cycle for a men's physique competitor. The woman was competing in women's physique. What am I supposed to do? Another thing. Oftentimes, coaches are going to try to convince you to take T3 and clenbuterol. You're going to say, well, I don't want to do steroids. I don't want to turn into a man, but I need to get leaner. And of course, you haven't been following their diet, or the coach probably got you to go on a bulk first and then a cut because you then have to hire them for longer. Hey, we first need to bulk you up. You got to bulk up, eat in a calorie surplus. It's so fun. You're going to eat 2,500 calories a day, 3,000. You're a woman. You don't need that much food. Then you go on a cut, but you're not getting ready in time. And so, you know what? You need to use Clen and T3. The Clen and T3 are very, very dangerous, and people don't actually think that they are. And so what Clen does is it decreases your potassium, makes you hypokalemic, while also causing arrhythmias. While this is happening, you're on very low calories, and so your potassium levels are already off. You're going to do cardio, you're getting dehydrated, and it's very likely that you could, in fact, suffer from a heart attack. And when you take Clen, it's so easy to misdose it. I told more than one client, 3 in my lifetime, I said, I want you to start with 1 drop. It comes in a liquid form. Sometimes it comes up in tablets, liquid form. And so 1 drop, essentially 1 ml is about 20 drops. And so if you take 1 drop, it's 1/20th of 1 cc. And so if it's dosed at 200 micrograms per ml, which it often is, sometimes it's at 100, 1/20th of 200 is 10. And so essentially 1 drop is 10 micrograms of Clen. That is plenty to start. Trust me. Now, I'm not suggesting you take Clen. There are better ways. In fact, my idea is don't eat the food in the first place. And so if you're so hungry, why not take GLP Max? You're going to have less appetite. You're fuller. And so you don't have as much body fat that you gain. It's easier to get it off. And if you do your cardio while taking GO2 Max, you're going to have improved ability to do cardio for longer, harder, and so on. And so you're going to get those results rather than taking Clen, which also is going to negatively affect your sleep. And so back to my last point. Rather than taking 1 drop, which is 10 micrograms, they took 1 dropper full, which is 1 cc or 1 ml. That's 20 drops. And so it's 200 micrograms. And so I'm getting these calls, people saying, I am shaking so bad, I feel like I could run, or perhaps I should run to the hospital. I don't know what to do. There's not much you can do. Now, if you had access to a beta blocker, you could take one. It's going to slow down your heart rate. But it's dangerous. And so oftentimes people would say, hey, I want to use Clen. My last coach had me start 14 weeks out, and I just kept upping the dose until then. Or people would say, I'm going to use it 5 days on, 2 days off, and keep going like that. Or they go 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. And I'm thinking, why are you using this? And so they purchased clenbuterol, 50 or 100 microgram tablets. Do you know how strong 50 micrograms is to begin with, let alone 100? A starting dose is 5 to 10. People are starting off with 50 and or 100, and even if they break it in half, it's still 25. And so they're shaking. I'm like, stimulate, don't annihilate. We're trying to burn fat, not nuke it. And so if you're shaking to this point, fidgeting and so on, you've overdosed. You don't need this. And so if you ever take Clen and you notice that you're shaking, your palms are sweaty, knees weak, you're gregging your Doucette steady. 50 keys of Turk were seized at the border already. And speaking of Turk, why not just get Turk Builder Max or Turk Platinum? I mean, you're a woman. You're not trying to get all these androgenic side effects. And so how are we not optimizing natural supplements first? I mean, you're not even taking creatine. You're not taking Turk. You're not taking GLP Max. You're not taking GO2 Max. What is wrong with you? But yet you're going to listen to your coach telling you to take Anavar, Clen T3, and so on. It makes no sense. And so what makes sense is to save money by using code Greg for 15% off.
I've experienced the voice, enlargement of certain things.
And so when she says she's got enlargement of certain things, she's talking about feminine parts of the body below the waist. They can get significantly larger. I'm talking 1 or 2 inches. It's a lot, not centimeters, inches. And so if you notice that kind of growth, significantly bigger, you got to stop. I mean, do you really want to turn yourself into a man? In utero, male and female genitalia, it looks exactly the same. And so essentially you're a woman at this point. And then DHT, the signal increases that growth so that you become more like a man. And so if you're a man, that thing grows. And if you're a woman, it doesn't. Now, if you get too much testosterone, DHA, and so on as you're older as an adult, that same signal is saying, hey, it's time to grow. We're going through puberty. Get bigger. That's what's happening.
I've lost my period on several occasions, one time for almost 3 years.
She's lost her periods. Now, on one end, you could lose your period from the female athlete triad. You're doing too much cardio, you're not eating enough, you're active and so on, your body fat's too low. But also, if you're using performance-enhancing drugs, taking androgens, it can suppress LH and FSH. And when that goes down, it can absolutely stop your period. If you're taking steroids, losing your period and so on, you can have negative effects on future potential to have children. You have fewer eggs. You can have ovaries to develop fibrosis. And so it is, in fact, very dangerous.
I have experienced hair loss, skin issues.
If you examine her head, hair loss, so for women, oftentimes they don't experience male pattern baldness where men oftentimes go bald like this. Females don't experience that as often. If you look at her head, you can see that the hairline, it's further back here. And so female bodybuilders, oftentimes you'll see more of their forehead as they get older, as they get more into their cycles, the hair continues to recede. Oftentimes women will actually have to wear wigs because they're actually losing their hair. They almost look like they're older, balding men. And so what this referred to is androgenic alopecia. And so if you notice that you're starting to recede hair on your hairline, you got to stop. It's already too late.
The most recent one is cystitis, which I'm still currently dealing with, unfortunately.
And so there are many types or forms of cystitis. And so since she's continuing to deal with it, it's most likely chronic interstitial cystitis. This is most likely inflammation in the bladder causing pain, having to urinate more often. This can actually be debilitating. It can get so bad that you would need a bathroom always in sight. Going to the mall, can't do that. I can't make it to the bathroom. You might in fact have to wear Depends or other forms of urine collection systems, underwear, whatever. And so it's not good.
I had no idea that it was going to be commented on so many times, shared so many times, and seen so many times by so many people.
And so there's no way she could have predicted this kind of positive outlook on what she's doing. And so because so many people are flocking to her channel, I mean, even her second video has 30,000 views in 16 hours, probably going to get 100,000 views in a matter of days. And so I'm certain other women are going to be thinking, maybe I should come out and explain the dangers as well. Because when you see someone successful in one area on YouTube, other people are thinking, maybe I should do that too. If I do natty or knots on people, other people do natty or knots. If everyone picks on Hussein Farhat or Jeff Nippard saying, there's no way these guys are natural, and they make video after video and you all watch it, other people are going to say, do you know what's cool to do? All you have to do is say anyone that has more muscle than you do is a fake natty and you get views. And so everyone posts the exact same videos. You're a liar, you're a fake natty, you have muscle, you're a fake natty. That becomes the hot topic. And so when you see someone being successful, many people, I expect, to follow suit. And I believe that this is a good thing because for far too long, women haven't had the kind of exposure to real talk about the use of performance-enhancing drugs. Your honesty is very powerful if only everyone else in the industry had the strength to also be open. Her honesty is so beautiful. People want real. People don't want to hear about fake natties. They want you to actually admit what you're taking. They want to see what were the pros, what were the cons, what did you go through so that they don't make the same mistakes. Many young people are looking up to people who are IFBB pros or people who have the physiques that they want, but they're not explaining all the dangers. They're only showing them all the good. Look at me, look at my physique, look at all my money, look at my cars. Rather than that, people want to see, what are your struggles? What are the problems you have in your daily life?
Because there's people, and I'm including myself in this, especially in my early years, who are willing to risk everything to be hypermuscular.
And so you hear that. People are still willing to take anything because they want to be hypermuscular. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They're still going to do it. Even if you tell people of all the dangers, many are still going to do it. But what you need to do is at least explain it to people. If they're adults, they're going to make their own decisions. But if they go into it with a blind eye, they don't know of all the potential harms, then they may make a decision that they'll later regret. Now, I'm telling you, if you decide to use steroids, especially in higher doses, you most likely at some point are going to regret it. You're thinking there's no way. Do you really think that the Trend twins at 50, Sam Sulik, Chris Bumstead, and so on, if they make it to 40 and the doctor says, do you know what? You have coronary artery disease. Do you really think they're not going to wish they could go back in time and stay natty? While you're making all the gains, all the money, getting the physique that you want, of course you're proud of it. Of course you have no regrets. It's not until bad things happen in the future that you're then going to regret it.
I'm not blaming bodybuilding. I'm not blaming my first coach. I take full responsibility for using steroids. I did that.
There's no use in blaming your coaches. There's no use in blaming anyone. At the end, it's on you. You're the one that decides what you put into your body. And if you just say, well, my coach told me to do this and my coach told me to do that, you may have turned a blind eye. You didn't ask other people if this was a good idea. You didn't even check with ChatGPT. You just took it blindly thinking, I want to win. And so if you ever blame your coach, and remember, there are many coaches that have had athletes, they actually have caused their athletes to pass away. They're no longer with us because of their protocols, but you still can't blame the coaches. It's on you.
The only thing that would have probably gotten through to me back then, if anything, would maybe be real life experiences. Seeing real life examples, not just scare tactics.
And so she's saying all the scare tactics, all the explanations, none of that would matter. I need real world examples. And so hopefully I've given you some of these. I've explained experiences I've had in the past. These are real world examples. I'm certain I could give hundreds of these. And this is what's going to happen. When you're 100% natural, you're going to think, I just want to enter bikini. Perhaps you're a man, you're thinking, I just want to do one cycle, the dad cycle. I just want a little bit of a better physique. You're going to do that cycle, and most people are not going to be able to stop. You're going to want to keep the gains coming, and you start a bikini. Now you're competing in harder divisions with more muscle, and you're thinking, I'm just going to up the doses. You start saying, what we once said we would never accept, I can't handle my voice changing. You're now thinking, well, it's just my voice. Next, you're going to grow facial hair, and you're thinking, I would have never accepted that, but you're like, well, I can get it waxed, I can get laser treatments, it's okay. And hey, the guys, they like it a little bit bigger downstairs. Well, they say that, but they actually don't. They're just trying to be nice. They'll settle for anything. You're going to keep moving the goalposts. You're going to keep deciding and pushing forward what you're willing to accept. And so I'm warning you right now, if you choose to go that route, be careful of what you wish for.
I have a very good life. I'm actually really happy.
And so she's happy right now, despite the fact that she's got some hair loss, despite her deeper voice, despite the fact she has interstitial cystitis. But what happens if she has cardiovascular disease, coronary artery disease, and so on? What if she finds out that she took 20 years off of her life? Would she then say the same thing? And remember, she still looks very attractive. What if she were bald, had acne everywhere, and was shaving and had far worse side effects? Would she still be happy? You really need to consider, is it actually worth it?
We have a responsibility to tell the truth, to be honest about this stuff.
And so if all women were as open about this as she is, all the bikini competitors who 3/4 of them have very deep voices, if they explain, hey, yeah, I'm on the Olympia stage, but I take this much Anavar, I inject this, I take that, I have these many problems, it's horrendous. I believe that far fewer people would be willing to take what they're taking in order to get those results. A lot of people are saying that I'm going to hate on her, that she's going to get a lot of hate from a lot of people. I don't think that's a thing. I think that when people are open and they admit what they're doing, that people appreciate the fact that they're being honest. I mean, how can you hate someone for telling the truth about what they're doing? Like, why would you do that? She's saying, I take steroids and this is what it did to me. Is somebody going to go in there and say, oh, but you're a man, you sound like that? She's saying, I know this. She's addressed the elephant in the room. And so she's saying, be careful, especially if you get a coach, if you start taking steroids, there are negative side effects. And so remember, if you're a woman and or a man, rather than using performance enhancing drugs, why not maximize what you can achieve naturally? Are you already at your natural genetic limit? She started steroids at 22. Do you really think she had peaked? Had she been training for 10 or more years? If not, you can keep doing it natural. There's no rush. You have your entire life. And if you love bodybuilding so much now at age 22, you'll continue to love it at 32. And so why the rush to get your dream physique right now? Delayed gratification. Put off your dream physique. Do the work. Train hard and eat properly and allow yourself the time to get your future physique. If you're interested in natural supplements, of course, code Greg, 15% off the Turkesterone, the Ajuga Turkistanica, the GO2 Max, the G-Test Platinum, everything. You can get it on the website. And remember, if you're looking for coaching, look no further. You can apply by clicking the link in the description. If you're interested in getting your blood work at dramatically cheaper prices, in comparison to Merrick, it's dirt cheap. And so if you're interested in getting peptides, coenzymes, or small molecule modulators, you can click the link in the description. I'm now with Algo RX. They don't make commission from selling you things that you don't need. For example, at Merrick Health, the people who are offering you these services, they get paid by how many things you buy. And so they're highly incentivized to sell you as many things as possible. And so with Algo RX, for example, Cialis and Viagra, it's under $30. In comparison to other clinics, they charge you through the roof. And so if you're looking for the best blood work and the cheapest prices, you know what to do. Click the link in the description. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you like it. Don't forget to watch one of those 2 bloops. And until next time, I am out.